Fien, and welcome to this self-help channel, as I like to call it here. What we'll be doing here, we'll be sharing stories that made me think, and that will hopefully move you as well. So let's dive into the story of this week, and it's actually from a book that's called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And I saw him first on the Oprah show, I know. But he looked really calm, and he could really explain very difficult situations and emotions in a very calm, simple way. So that's why I chose this book, and I'll be sharing a story that is called Removing Your Inner Thorn. So let's go. Removing Your Inner Thorn. It's part of chapter 9, by the way. Imagine that you have a thorn in your arm that directly touches a nerve. When the thorn is touched, it's very painful. Because it hurts so much, thorn is a really serious problem. It's difficult to sleep because you roll over on it, and it's hard to get close to people because they might touch it. It makes your daily life very difficult. You can't even go for a walk in the woods because you might brush the thorn against the branches. This thorn is really a constant source of disturbance, and to solve the problem, you only have two choices. The first choice is to look at your situation and decide that since it's so disturbing, you need to make sure nothing touches it. The second choice is to decide that since it's so disturbing, you need to take care. Believe it or not, the effects of the choice you make will determine the course of the rest of your life. Now let's begin with the first choice and explore how it will affect your life. If you decide you have to keep things from touching the thorn, then that becomes a work of a lifetime. If you want to go for a walk in the woods, you'll have to thin out the branches to make sure you don't brush against them. Since you often roll over and touch the thorn when you sleep, you'll have to find a solution for that as well. Perhaps you could design an apparatus that acts as a protective device. You would think that you have solved your problem. You'd say, I can sleep now. And guess what? I got to go on TV to give a testimonial. Anybody who has a thorn problem can get my protective device, and I even get paid royalties. But now you have a new problem. You fell in love. This is a problem because in your situation it's hard to even hug. So you design another kind of device that allows closeness amongst people without actually touching. Eventually, you decide you want total mobility. So you make a full-time device that doesn't have to be unstrapped at night. But it's so heavy. So you put wheels on it. It's actually quite an impressive device. You can go to work, go to sleep, get close to people. So you announce to everyone, I have solved my problem. I am a free being. I can go anywhere I want. I can do anything I want. This thorn used to run my life, now it doesn't run anything. The truth is, the thorn completely runs your entire life. It's running every aspect of your life. I really love this story because it seems so simple, it makes so much sense, and yet everyone has had one of these moments, one of these situations where you choose to rather suffer slowly in the long term instead of really choosing the short pain, the korte pijn, as they say in English. So Michael Singer calls these inner thorns like unfinished energy patterns of the past. They're dormant inside ourselves, and we forget about them until a person or a situation touches or triggers that inner thorn again, and it reminds us really of the thing or situation that caused this inner thorn. And these thorns really end up running our lives because we plan our lives to protect that inner thorn from ever being felt ever again. So we can only deal with this, we can only solve this really if we take a first step and really become aware and start to observe what's happening inside ourselves. Now, in the literal sense, it makes sense. You could, for example, if you have a splinter, you could pull it out quickly, or you can just leave it in. But if you leave it in, then in the end, it will start to fester, it will become even more, it will look awful, it will be very painful to deal with in the end. So, in the literal sense, that you'll say, okay, it makes sense, it's pretty easy to, it's pretty logical to understand, but what are these inner thorns that Michael Singer is talking about? What are a couple of examples of inner thorns? So I'll give you one. You might have lost a close friend or a family member when you were young and somebody died, for example. And instead of dealing with that pain, you could ignore it. And you could start building walls around yourself. Never let anyone come ever close to you again because you have this fear of losing a loved one ever again. Or what you can also do is go through the pain of losing someone, dealing with it, looking it in the eye, digesting it, write about it, talk about it, really dealing with this. And I know it might take you a while, but it will really help you to open up again for love and companionship of friends. So same goes for abuse, for bullying. It can be smaller or bigger traumas or patterns that you're not ready to deal with or look into the eye. So those are a couple of examples. And I know this sounds really simple, it sounds really logical, but it's not because it's simple that it's easy. And it will take you a while. So just remember, the first step is really to observe and to become aware and to be honest to yourself when you're triggered with something. So think for yourself, do you have any of these patterns or inner thorns that you're maybe ignoring, but that you deep inside you know that it's a trigger and you know where it comes from? And feel free to share it with us in the comments if you're ready for that, of course. And thank you for sticking around until the end. I like to keep these ones short and digestible, so that's what we're doing here. So thank you for sticking around. If you like this story, if you like this video, I trust you give it a thumbs up and a like. And if you would want to hear more stories in the future, then you can always subscribe if you feel like it. So thanks for watching, thanks for joining, and see you next time. Bye.